Story 1. In the heat of the moment, Beverly's words echoed through my mind like a haunting melody. Joshua, it's not what you think. But what was I supposed to think when I caught her red-handed with our daughter's boyfriend, Andrew? My blood boiled as I clenched my fists and forcefully ushered them out of our home, my Hummer serving as the stage for this dramatic scene. Today, I'm standing on the precipice of recounting a tale that shook the very foundation of my existence. I'm Joshua, and for 18 solid years, I've been tethered to Beverly in the intricate dance of marriage. Together, we've navigated the tumultuous waters of life, ensuring our daughter Ruby wanted for nothing. Now, as Ruby embarks on her freshman year of college, the threads of our family fabric are stretched thin, threatening to unravel at the seams. Our story traces back to a time when youth danced in our veins, and hope burned bright in our eyes. At the tender age of 20, Beverly and I received news that would forever alter the trajectory of our lives. She was pregnant. Despite the uncertainty that loomed on the horizon, I found solace in her arms, and we exchanged vows, pledging to weather the storm together. But storms they were indeed. With neither of us possessing a formal education, the road ahead was fraught with obstacles. I found myself cast adrift in a sea of uncertainty when I lost my job, leaving us teetering on the precipice of financial ruin. Desperate times called for desperate measures, and we found ourselves at the mercy of loans, our humble abode a mere speck in the vast expanse of my parents' home. Yet, amidst the chaos, a glimmer of hope emerged. With Ruby's arrival, our resolve hardened, and I set out on a relentless pursuit of stability. Days bled into nights as I toiled away at multiple jobs, each paycheck a testament to our unwavering determination. And when Ruby turned 4, a beacon of light pierced through the darkness. Employment prospects improved, and we finally found ourselves on solid ground. But the journey was far from over. With Ruby's future hanging in the balance, we scrimped and saved, sacrificing luxuries for the sake of her education. And 2 years ago, amidst the backdrop of our modest success, I fulfilled a lifelong dream, purchasing a Hummer, a symbol of our hard-fought victories. As I ascended the ranks in my career, I couldn't help but marvel at the distance we'd traveled. From the depths of uncertainty to the pinnacle of success, our journey was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Yet, amidst the triumphs, darkness lurked in the shadows, threatening to consume us whole. Enter Andrew, the catalyst for chaos in an otherwise orderly existence. From the moment he crossed the threshold of our home, I sensed an unease stirring within me. Call it intuition, or perhaps a father's protective instinct, but I couldn't shake the feeling that Andrew was not the right fit for Ruby. And my fears were not unfounded. Behind closed doors, secrets festered, threatening to tear apart the fabric of our family. Ruby's clandestine relationship with Andrew unfolded like a Greek tragedy, each revelation driving a wedge between us. As tensions mounted, I found myself at odds with Beverly, her unwavering support of Andrew a bitter pill to swallow. But it was the day of reckoning that tested the limits of my resolve. Returning home to an eerily quiet house, I was met with a sight that would forever be seared into my memory. The unmistakable sounds of betrayal echoed through the halls, leading me to the scene of the crime, our bedroom. There they were, entwined in a lover's embrace, oblivious to the storm brewing outside. Anger surged through me, propelling me into action as I confronted them, my voice a thunderous roar amidst the chaos. In that moment, the lines between right and wrong blurred, and I found myself grappling with the consequences of my actions. As the dust settled, I was left to pick up the pieces of a shattered existence, grappling with the harsh realities of betrayal and loss. But amidst the wreckage, a glimmer of hope emerged, a chance for redemption, a chance to rebuild from the ashes. And so, as I stand on the threshold of a new beginning, I'm reminded of the resilience of the human spirit, a testament to the indomitable will to persevere in the face of adversity. For in the darkest of nights, there is always a flicker of light, guiding us towards the promise of a brighter tomorrow. You know, life has this funny way of throwing curveballs at you when you least expect it. Take Andrew, for instance. From the get-go, my intuition was screaming that something wasn't quite right with the guy. But being the hospitable host that I am, I made a concerted effort to make him feel welcome. I'd strike up conversations, ask him questions, trying to peel back the layers and understand him better, you know? But no matter how hard I tried, there was always this vibe, this feeling that Andrew was searching for something deeper, something beyond the surface. And every time he'd swing by, I'd make sure to check in with Ruby, my daughter. I'd sit her down, ready to have these heart-to-heart talks, but sometimes it felt like hitting a brick wall. I remember this one conversation we had, right before everything went downhill. I open the door, eager to dive into some father-daughter bonding, and she shuts me down real quick. "Dad, I'd rather not go there," she says, cutting me off before I can even get a word out. And then she starts going on about how Andrew's just this average guy, like it's no big deal. But I couldn't shake this nagging feeling, this sense that something was off. I tried to reason with her, lay out the facts, but she wasn't having any of it. "Did you ever need reasons to love Mom?" She fires back at me. And yeah, okay, fair point, but this was different. This was about her future, her well-being. But she's got her mom's stubborn streak and shuts me down before I can even make my case. So, what do? I do what any concerned parent would do. I turn to Beverly, my ex-wife. I spill the beans, hoping for some support, some understanding. But what do I get? Defensiveness, excuses. It's like she's got blinders on, can't see what's right in front of her. And things only go downhill from there. Andrew practically sets up camp in our house, spending nights like he owns the place. And Beverly? Well, she's all too eager to play hostess, like she's trying to make up for something. Now I get it. The guy's had a rough go of it, but that doesn't mean he gets a free pass to cozy up in our home. But here's the real kicker. Ruby's in on it too. Inviting him over, sharing her space like it's the most natural thing in the world. And me. I'm left feeling like the odd man out, the only one who sees through the facade. But mark my words, I'm not about to let this slide. Oh no, sir. I'm going to get to the bottom of this, one way or another. Because as far as I'm concerned, Andrew's got some explaining to do, and I'm not about to let him off the hook that easy. I'm coming home after a brutal day at work, right? It's probably around 11 p.m., and what do I find? Andrew's sneakers, right there on the doorstep. Now, I've made it crystal clear. No random guests crashing at my place after 8 p.m. But what do I see? Lo and behold, there they are, lounging around like they own the joint. Let me tell you, I was more than just a little peeved. I mean, bending the rules a tad is one thing, but this was way beyond the line. I've got a family to consider, and these guys are prioritizing some stranger over my rules. And it's not just that. Every time I walk through that door, there's a meal on the table. But when Andrew's hanging out, it's like he's raided the pantry. The nerve of the guy, eating me out of house and home. So the next day, I'm at work, trying to keep my cool, when it hits me. I left some crucial documents at home. Now, usually, it wouldn't be a big deal, but today? Today's different. I've got a crucial meeting, and those documents are the key to unlocking some serious perks, a bonus, a raise, you name it. I rush home, praying that Beverly or Ruby can bail me out. But of course, Beverly's nowhere to be found, and Ruby's too busy hitting the books to lend me a hand. So I'm left with no choice but to break into my own house. I sneak in through the kitchen window, and let me tell you, it's chaos inside. Music blasting, dishes piled up. It's like a hurricane hit. But I don't have time to dwell on it. I grab the documents and make a run for it, back on the road before you can blink. But as I'm driving back to work, it hits me. The meeting isn't at 2:15 p.m. like I thought. It's at 2:15 a.m., and here I am, tearing through the streets like a man possessed, trying to make it back in time. I finally get there, a few minutes late, but the damage is done. I stumble into the meeting, sweating bullets, but somehow I manage to pull it off. The boss is impressed. The deal is sealed, and just like that, I'm on cloud 9. But as I'm sitting there, reveling in my success, I can't shake the feeling that something's off. Sure, I nailed the meeting, but at what cost? My family's falling apart, and here I am, chasing after some stupid bonus like it's the solution to all my problems. I guess what I'm trying to say is, sometimes, you've got to stop and smell the roses. Sure, the money's nice, but it's not worth sacrificing everything else. Family, love, trust, that's where the real wealth lies. And no amount of bonuses can ever top that. Gather around, folks, because I'm about to paint you a picture of one heck of a day. So picture this. I stroll into the bedroom, just your average day, And what do I stumble upon? Beverly's phone, sitting there on the nightstand, lighting up like it's the 4th of July. Now, that's not your everyday sight, 'Cause here's the kicker. It's buzzing with missed calls from yours truly and texts from Andrew. Yeah, you heard me right, Andrew. The guy I'm not exactly thrilled about. Now, that's enough to send anyone's alarm bells ringing, right? I mean, why is this dude's number blowing up my wife's phone like that? And is this gonna be a regular occurrence now? My mind's racing a mile a minute as I haul myself upstairs, trying to drown out the racket of the blaring music. But then, as I'm climbing those stairs, I start hearing things, moans, rhythmic sounds, you name it. And as I get closer to our bedroom, it all falls into place. There they are, Beverly and this young punk, getting all cozy on our bed. I don't even know what to feel in that moment. Anger, betrayal, you name it. So, what's my move? I whip out my phone, start recording. Gotta have proof, right? And without a second thought, I grab the guy by the leg and toss him off the bed. Turns out, it's Andrew, the same dude who's been getting chummy with my daughter. But he ain't getting off scot-free. Oh no, I make sure to snap a pic of his deer in the headlights face before dragging him out of there. And let me tell ya, Beverly's freaking out, begging me to let him go, saying it's all on her. But I ain't buying it. I shove Andrew into the back of my Hummer, warn him not to make a move, and we're off. Of course, Beverly tries to play the hero, threatens to call the cops and whatnot. But I'm done playing nice. I tell her straight up, move or things are gonna get messy. And with that, we're out of there, leaving her standing there in shock. As we're hightailing it out of there, the calls start pouring in, first from Beverly, then from my boss. But I couldn't care less. I got bigger fish to fry than some job or whatever. Right now, all I can think about is getting some answers, and maybe a little payback while I'm at it. I'm there, trying to shake off all the stress from the whirlwind of events that just went down. Notifications buzzing like there's no tomorrow, and just when I think I can catch a break, Andrew hits me with, "Are you planning to kill me?" I couldn't help but chuckle. "Nah, buddy, I've got something way more interesting in mind," I told him. After what feels like an eternity, we finally pull up to the college where Ruby's taking her exams. Time to drop this guy off and get on with it. I tell Andrew to get out, and he looks like he's about to say something, but my tone shuts him right up. Exit immediately and stay put. Move, and it'll only get worse, I warn him. He nods, steps out onto the street, trembling like a leaf in the wind. As I watch him from afar, I can't help but feel a twinge of respect for the guy. I mean, he could have bolted or refused to move, but there he is, following my orders like a pro. Before I know it, a crowd's gathered around him, students laughing, taking pictures, you name it. And there's Ruby, coming out of the entrance, looking like she's seen a ghost. She must have already heard Beverly's twisted version of events. I rush over to Ruby, trying to explain, but she's backing away, and Andrew's yelling for her attention. Next thing I know, some dude tackles Andrew to the ground, and the cops show up. It's pandemonium. In a desperate attempt, I try to reach Ruby, but she's running, calling for help. I realize it's futile. So I head back to the car, only to find a message from Ruby, "Never approach me again." Wonderful. With my phone buzzing non-stop, missed calls from Beverly, my boss, you name it, I know I need a drink. So I hit up a bar, drowning my sorrows in beer and whiskey, sharing my tale with some random guys who are just as shocked as I am. The next morning, I figure it's best to lay low, so I head to a hostel, pen and notebook in hand, to figure out my next move. And wouldn't you know it, just as I'm getting my thoughts together, the cops pull me over. Looks like my journey home's gonna be anything but smooth sailing. But hey, what's life without a few bumps in the road, right? Strap yourselves in, folks, because I've got a story that'll keep you on the edge of your seats. So picture this. I come home one day, right? And what do I find? Beverly's gone and filed a report against me, accusing me of breaking into the house, going berserk, and snatching Andrew. Can you believe that? And to add insult to injury, Ruby, my own flesh and blood, backs up her mom's story. I was floored, to put it mildly. Waste no time. I get myself a lawyer and set the record straight. I lay it all out for the cops, handing over video evidence, photos, the whole kit and caboodle. I make it crystal clear that Andrew came with me willingly, and even my neighbor chimes in, backing me up. He saw the whole ordeal while he was tending to his garden. But the drama ain't over yet, folks. Beverly and Ruby strut in with their fancy lawyer, and let me tell you, it's like a scene straight out of Hollywood. Ruby won't even glance my way. And Beverly? She shoots me this look that cuts right through. Hurts, man, seeing my own wife treat me like that. Turns out Ruby didn't have the full story. She'd been fed some twisted version of events by her mom, and in her rage, she went along with it. But once she lays eyes on the evidence, the photos and whatnot, she comes around, apologizing and squeezing me tight. Fast forward a few months, and the divorce is a done deal. We sell the house, split the cash, and Beverly's got a fork over some serious dough for making false accusations. Andrew dodges a bullet, but he's got to ditch college because of all the drama. But here's the silver lining, folks. My boss comes through like a champ, bags me a hefty bonus, doubles my salary, and throws in a promotion for good measure. Sure, I downsized to a smaller pad, but it's cozy. And Ruby? Well, she's by my side until she finishes college. Beverly, on the other hand, heads back to her folks' place. Life's slowly finding its groove again, you know. Looking back, sure, I've got my share of regrets. But at the end of the day, it's all about moving forward, taking more time for myself, catching up with old buddies, and most importantly, being there for my girl. So, listen up, folks. Life throws some serious curveballs, but it's how you handle them that makes all the difference. And me, I'm just grateful to be on the up and up. Here's hoping you all find your way too. Intro all right, folks. Buckle up because we're about to jump into another wild tale. That last story was a real roller coaster, but we're switching gears now. So stay tuned, grab your popcorn, and get ready for another thrilling ride. Story 2, let's dig deeper into the nitty-gritty of this roller coaster of a tale. Buckle up, because we're about to unpack the complexities of this real-life drama starring yours truly, Pepper, her newfound beau Steve, his ex Maria, my daughter Sarah, and of course my partner in crime, Jason, who's been riding shotgun through every twist and turn. Now, let's peel back the layers of Pepper and my relationship. Picture this, a roller coaster ride through the fiery depths of hell. Looking back, it's clear I was head over heels for her, but it seemed she was more drawn to the stability and convenience I brought to the table. She had her son Bob, grappling with his own set of issues, and I had another child from a previous relationship. Despite our best efforts, our marriage was hanging on by a thread. So we made the tough decision to call it quits. With my job requiring occasional travel and custody arrangements for my son, I found myself relocating back to my hometown in another state. However, I kept an apartment close to Pepper to remain in touch with my daughter Sarah. Throughout this period, I leaned heavily on Jason, a top-notch lawyer and my confidant, to navigate the murky waters of negotiating a child support agreement with Pepper. Let's face it, that agreement was more about finances than about custody or visitation schedules. For approximately a year, we maintained this arrangement, spending alternating months with Sarah and my other child, with the invaluable support of my parents. But let me tell you, juggling two households is no walk in the park, especially when it comes to the financial strain. Pepper began itching to move closer to her hometown, which was in a different state but conveniently closer to where I was residing. So I bid farewell to the apartment, and Pepper made the move. Despite our efforts to keep things civil and even attempting to rekindle the flame on a few occasions, it was like trying to ignite a match in a rainstorm. Meanwhile, Pepper found herself back on the dating scene, and, lo and behold, she meets Steve. Now, I didn't know much about this guy, other than the fact that he's a certified ethical hacker, a detail that becomes increasingly significant as our story unfolds. Steve's entry into the picture adds a new layer of complexity to our already tangled web of relationships. It's like throwing gasoline on a smoldering fire. But little did I know, his presence would ignite a series of events that would send shockwaves through our lives. As Pepper and Steve dive headfirst into their romantic escapades, Pepper keeps me in the loop about their outings. She'd even shoot me a text on days when they got particularly cozy. It stung, no doubt about it. Looking back, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what she wanted. But hey, I tried to play the good friend, the guy you can trust with all your secrets. Then, out of nowhere, Pepper drops a bomb. Her and Steve? Over. 6 months down the drain. Suddenly, she's having this epiphany that she's head over heels for yours truly. Since it was summer break, she decides to pack up and head over to my neck of the woods. The plan? Test the waters and see if they want to stick around. And let me tell you, we had a blast that summer. The kids were all getting along. Even Bob seemed to be enjoying himself. So Pepper decides to make it official. We're back on track, and they're moving in with me. We get Sarah settled into school, and she even joins the cheerleading squad, making friends left and right. But then, here comes the curveball. Pepper still has her own place, filled to the brim with her stuff. I offer to lend a hand, haul everything over in my truck, but she's adamant they can handle it solo. Fast forward 3 days, and Pepper drops the bombshell. She's not budging. Her and Steve are all in, planning to shack up together. To say I was crushed would be an understatement. Why put me through all of this? And to top it off, she leaves it to me to break the news to Sarah. Seeing the devastation on Sarah's face, that hurt cut deeper than anything. She starts pouring her heart out, telling me things I never knew. How Pepper would take off with Steve, leaving Bob to run the show. How Sarah had to learn to fend for herself in the kitchen at just 8 years old, because Bob was too busy chasing pills. And then there's Sarah's first encounter with Steve, barely a hello before they disappeared behind closed doors, leaving her to cry herself to sleep. That was the moment my anger boiled over into full-blown rage. I made it crystal clear to Pepper, Sarah ain't going back to that mess, and I'll do whatever it takes to keep her safe. But little did I know, the drama was far from over. As if things weren't chaotic enough, Pepper and Steve's relationship takes a nosedive, sending shockwaves through our already fragile dynamic. While Pepper and Steve were busy with their romantic escapades, Pepper kept me in the loop about their outings. She'd even shoot me a text on days when they got particularly cozy. It stung, no doubt about it. Looking back, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what she wanted. But hey, I tried to play the good friend, the guy you can trust with all your secrets. Then, out of nowhere, Pepper drops a bomb. Her and Steve? Over. 6 months down the drain. Suddenly, she's having this epiphany that she's head over heels for yours truly. Since it was summer break, she decides to pack up and head over to my neck of the woods. The plan? Test the waters and see if they want to stick around. And let me tell you, we had a blast that summer. The kids were all getting along. Even Bob seemed to be enjoying himself. So Pepper decides to make it official. We're back on track, and they're moving in with me. We get Sarah settled into school, and she even joins the cheerleading squad, making friends left and right. But then, here comes the curveball. Pepper still has her own place, filled to the brim with her stuff. I offer to lend a hand, haul everything over in my truck, but she's adamant they can handle it solo. Fast forward 3 days, and Pepper drops the bombshell. She's not budging. Her and Steve are all in, planning to shack up together. To say I was crushed would be an understatement. Why put me through all of this? And to top it off, she leaves it to me to break the news to Sarah. Seeing the devastation on Sarah's face, that hurt cut deeper than anything. She starts pouring her heart out, telling me things I never knew. How Pepper would take off with Steve, leaving Bob to run the show. How Sarah had to learn to fend for herself in the kitchen at just 8 years old, because Bob was too busy chasing pills. And then there's Sarah's first encounter with Steve, barely a hello before they disappeared behind closed doors, leaving her to cry herself to sleep. That was the moment my anger boiled over into full-blown rage. I made it crystal clear to Pepper, Sarah ain't going back to that mess, and I'll do whatever it takes to keep her safe. But little did I know, the drama was far from over. As if things weren't chaotic enough, Pepper and Steve's relationship takes a nosedive, sending shockwaves through our already fragile dynamic. While Pepper and Steve were busy with their romantic escapades, Pepper kept me in the loop about their outings. She'd even shoot me a text on days when they got particularly cozy. It stung, no doubt about it. Looking back, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what she wanted. But hey, I tried to play the good friend, the guy you can trust with all your secrets. Then, out of nowhere, Pepper drops a bomb. Her and Steve? Over. 6 months down the drain. Suddenly, she's having this epiphany that she's head over heels for yours truly. Since it was summer break, she decides to pack up and head over to my neck of the woods. The plan? Test the waters and see if they want to stick around. And let me tell you, we had a blast that summer. The kids were all getting along. Even Bob seemed to be enjoying himself. So Pepper decides to make it official. We're back on track, and they're moving in with me. We get Sarah settled into school, and she even joins the cheerleading squad, making friends left and right. But then, Here comes the curveball. Pepper still has her own place, filled to the brim with her stuff. I offer to lend a hand, haul everything over in my truck, but she's adamant they can handle it solo. Fast forward 3 days, and Pepper drops the bombshell. She's not budging. Her and Steve are all in, planning to shack up together. To say I was crushed would be an understatement. Why put me through all of this? And to top it off, she leaves it to me to break the news to Sarah. Seeing the devastation on Sarah's face, that hurt cut deeper than anything. She starts pouring her heart out, telling me things I never knew. How Pepper would take off with Steve, leaving Bob to run the show. How Sarah had to learn to fend for herself in the kitchen at just 8 years old, because Bob was too busy chasing pills. And then there's Sarah's first encounter with Steve, barely a hello before they disappeared behind closed doors, leaving her to cry herself to sleep. That was the moment my anger boiled over into full-blown rage. I made it crystal clear to Pepper, Sarah ain't going back to that mess, and I'll do whatever it takes to keep her safe. But little did I know, the drama was far from over. As if things weren't chaotic enough, Pepper and Steve's relationship takes a nosedive, sending shockwaves through our already fragile dynamic. So let me fill you in on what went down while Pepper and Steve were busy with their lovey-dovey escapades. Pepper, being the considerate ex-wife she is, kept me in the loop about their outings. Yep, she'd shoot me a text even on those days when they were getting all cuddly and cozy. Now let me tell you, that stung like a bee. Looking back, I'm pretty darn sure that's exactly what she wanted, to rub it in my face. But hey, I tried to play the good friend, the guy you can trust with all your secrets. Then, out of the blue, Pepper drops a bombshell. Her and Steve? Denazo. 6 months of romance down the drain, just like that. Suddenly, she's having this epiphany that she's head over heels for yours truly. Since it was summer break, she decides to pack up and head over to my neck of the woods. The plan? Test the waters and see if they want to stick around. And let me tell you, that summer was one for the books. The kids were all getting along, even Bob seemed to be having a blast. So Pepper decides to make it official. We're back on track, and they're moving in with me. We get Sarah all settled into school, and she even joins the cheerleading squad, making friends left and right. But then, here comes the curveball. Pepper still has her own place, packed to the brim with her stuff. I offer to lend a hand, haul everything over in my truck, but she's dead set on handling it solo. Fast forward 3 days, and Pepper hits me with the bombshell of bombshells. She's not budging. Her and Steve are all in, planning to shack up together. To say I was crushed would be putting it mildly. Why put me through all of this? And to top it off, she leaves it to me to break the news to Sarah. Seeing the devastation on Sarah's face, that hurt cut deeper than anything. She starts pouring her heart out, telling me things I never knew. How Pepper would jet off with Steve, leaving Bob to fend for himself. How Sarah had to learn to whip up meals in the kitchen at just 8 years old, 'cause Bob was too busy chasing pills. And then there's Sarah's first run-in with Steve, barely a hello before they disappeared behind closed doors, leaving her to sob herself to sleep. That was the moment my anger boiled over into full-blown rage. I made it crystal clear to Pepper, Sarah ain't going back to that chaos, and I'll do whatever it takes to keep her safe. Everyone, 'cause I've got a story that'll make your head spin. So, here's the deal. Pepper, my ex, wasted no time pulling a fast one. She whips up this emergency hearing in her state, all to try and snatch Sarah back with her. I had to hustle, you know what I'm saying? Luckily, I had a top-notch lawyer in my corner. And despite Pepper showing up late and trying to play the disability card with the judge, yours truly managed to clinch the win. The judge sided with me, saying Sarah's better off sticking with yours truly, at least for the time being. But let me tell you, that courtroom showdown was just the tip of the iceberg, folks. As soon as I step out of there, my inbox is blowing up with shady emails and texts. Then, out of the blue, Jason hits me with some heavy news. Turns out, his law firm's entire online presence, website, emails, you name it, got hit by hackers. The FBI had to swoop in because of the scale of the case. And let me tell you, I was boiling mad. These two didn't just mess with my life, folks. They dragged my daughter into their mess and sullied my buddy Jason's reputation too. Time for them to face the music, right? So I kick it into full-on detective mode, digging up dirt on Pepper and Steve. Digging up dirt on Pepper? Piece of cake, my friends. Spotted her out partying hard on social media just when Sarah was skipping school. Witnesses even saw Sarah begging for grub because she was stuck with Bob or Pepper's shady niece. But Steve, now that was a whole different ballgame. The dude had his online fortress locked down tighter than Fort Knox, driving me up the wall. But then, lightning strikes, my brain's light bulb flickers on, LinkedIn. Found Steve's ex, Maria, and shot her a message. Turns out, she's got some serious beef with Pepper too. Spilled the beans on their divorce settlement. Sure, Steve might have hit the jackpot, but there were some ironclad rules he had to stick to when it came to their kids. Slip up, and it's red alert for him. Let me lay it out for you. Steve's in for a world of hurt as per this agreement. He's got to offload the house and split the cash with Maria, plus his child support payments are about to shoot through the roof, spelling out financial disaster. But here's the kicker. Steve's not exactly the sharpest tool in the shed. He didn't even bother blocking Maria on social media, so she's getting a front row seat to his life updates, thanks to his boastful messages and pictures featuring Pepper. Maria and I got our heads together, compared notes, and brewed up a plan for some sweet, sweet payback. First things first, I brought Jason into the loop. He wasted no time getting the FBI on the horn about the hacking mess I'd been tangled up in. We had a gut feeling it was all intertwined. The investigator came knocking, and I spilled all the beans, even pointing fingers at who I suspected was pulling the strings. Turns out, Steve wasn't as sly as he thought. The FBI had already traced the hack back to his workplace. Oops. I didn't waste a second. I reached out to Steve's boss with a formal complaint, laying out all the hacking nonsense and squarely pointing the finger at Steve. But of course, they weren't taking me too seriously without concrete evidence. Little did they know, a Fed was on their way to give them a reality check. Next thing you know, it's a week from hell for Steve and Pepper. Divorce papers hit Pepper like a ton of bricks, complete with all the dirt I'd unearthed. My lawyer said it was the most thorough investigation he'd ever seen. I had proof for every late night, every instant Sarah was left hanging while they hit the town. Maria came through with a golden nugget of a photo, snapped at 2 a.m. on the eve of the emergency hearing. There's Steve and Pepper, living it up at a tattoo parlor, while they're supposed to be minding the kids. And when Pepper strolls into court late, blaming it on some supposed disability, oh, she got a rude awakening. As for Steve, well, he didn't fare any better. His job? Toast. My complaint, the hacking debacle, and the FBI? Sent his employers running for the hills. No surprises there. Even if the law couldn't touch him for the hacking, the word was out. Guy couldn't snag a job to save his skin, especially in it. Tough luck, Steve-O.